Today is September 22nd. This is at 4:32. This is Greenfield Fire Station Building Committee meeting. And this is the chair statement. This meeting is being recorded. If any persons present are doing so, they must notify the chairperson at this time. Is Don on? Or anybody? No? Okay, go with that. Most important meeting, and they're not here for it, David.
Crazy.
Yeah,
They'll read the recorder, right, Mary?
correct. Okay, attendance, David Singer,
Here.
Butch Hawkins is present. Roxanne, Mayor Wiedengartner, vacation. Chief Strahan,
Here.
thank you. Liz Gilman,
Here.
thank you. Carol Collins.
Yes, here.
Thank you. David Mascaratello. Oh, Steve Draculich.
Here.
Thank you. Gene Wall.
Here.
Thank you. Amy McMahon.
Here.
Thank you. Jen Stromston.
Here.
Thank you. And Jim Nguyen.
Here.
Okay, non-voting members, Marla Warner. George Vandelander. Fernando.
Present.
Yeah, Laura.
Here.
Chief Haig. Peter MacGyver.
Hi, this is
Peter, Greg Diefendorf. Just checking with the architects, Katrina, Dennis, and Adam, I believe, are all on board.
Yes.
Yes.
And Neil Joyce is on board.
And Roger Hoy is here, and it looks like Don Moran also joined.
Oh, okay. Hi, Don. You're on recording. I'm sure she is. Okay. Happy days. All right. Next order of business is approval of the prior minutes. They were emailed out to everybody. There's a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay,
Second,
Jim.
Carol.
Okay, any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. How do you vote, David?
Accept.
Butch, yes. Chief?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Yeah, and Jim?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Meetings have been approved. All right, the next thing on is just a budget update from Neil Joyce. I emailed out the most current budget that we have to everybody yesterday.
But we've had no change in the budget. We haven't paid any bills since our last meeting. So that will serve as the budget update for today.
Perfect. Okay, grant update. I think we can, both myself, the chief, and David Singer were at the city council meeting last night when I voted to accept our USDA grant that Jen was so gracious in putting us on the track to receive. So we do have that. And hooray for us on that. That's a big one. Anybody wants to say anything more on that?
Thank you again, Jen.
Yeah,
Well done.
that was huge.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that was huge. It was definitely huge. Such a difference maker. Any more on that? No. Okay, railroad property update. I saw a thing from the mayor saying there was nothing new unless Neil has anything more to add to that at this point.
No, I saw the same email that you did, Butch, and we're still waiting for feedback from the title research.
Right. And I'm assuming the power line, the pole relocation thing is still in limbo as well.
That is correct.
All right, still working on those. Now, the best part. The best part was again, the three of us were at the meeting last night till after 10 o'clock, and hooray, hooray, hooray. The city council voted to approve the mayor and Liz Gilman's plan to provide us with an additional $1 million from stabilization and $750,000 from a bond premium, while they tabled the $500,000 from bonding, borrowing. That didn't matter in the near term because I would just ask Neil to explain why we're at where we are with the budget, and why we can vote to issue a contract.
So with the additional funding that was voted in from city council last evening, and in addition to that, the $500,000 of ARPA funds, and Butch, where's the other 500,000 coming from? There was 100 in ARPA funds. There was $1 million total.
Yeah, there was, let's see, there was $1 million from stabilization, 750 from the bond, 500,000, additional 500,000 the mayor was going to give us from ARPA. And then they laid off, they tabled.
And $1 million for the grant. That was it.
And another, yeah, 987,000 from the grant,
That
correct?
could be 2.7 million total. With the addition of that funding, as voted by council and as directed by the mayor, we will have sufficient funds to fund the project in full, with the exception of furnitures, fixtures, and equipment. That's the easiest way to look at it. The last 500,000, which was to be secured through additional borrowing, was tabled by council. So everything but furnitures, fixtures, and equipment is now fully funded.
So that puts us in a great position to be able to vote to award the contract. And then we'll have to work on securing the FF&E as we go down the road. But hooray for us as a committee that we finally reached a point where we can actually sign a contract and make this project real.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and we really want to thank City Council for their support. They've supported us now on at least, I think, that's a third occasion they've supported us for additional funding. As you remember, we started off with 10 million. We're at 21.7 million today. Hooray, it's been a long haul. I couldn't be happier. You want to say anything, David or the chief?
Yeah, I'd like to real quick, if it's okay.
Go right ahead.
We absolutely thank the council and thank the mayor for making this happen. But I really want to do a special shout out to Liz Gilman, who spent, I can't tell you how many hours trying to very quickly arrange it so this project can go forward. And with the support of the mayor, she had laid out a very solid plan that city council approved. And so there's a lot of people that are unsung heroes, but Liz is certainly one of them. So I personally wanted to say thank you to Liz, our mayor, and city council. As far as the $500,000 goes, I am confident that down the road that will be restored. And so we are still pursuing grants, and I'm happy to announce that we did receive another grant for the tune of $70,000. We put in for $130,000 for a specific piece of equipment that's going to go into the new firehouse. But we are still actively trying to secure funds for the project as well. But with that said, I do believe that I'm hoping within a month, we will see an additional 500,000 so that we can be certain we can complete the project. And one of the complications that we do have with the 500,000 being the equipment and the furniture is that includes some IT equipment. And the lead time on the IT equipment is pretty long. So it is something that we still need to be working on and hopefully securing soon. But able to sit here tonight and vote a contract for a contractor is it's
Huge.
a very big sigh of relief at the firehouse. The firefighters are very pleased to finally see that this is the beginning of building, but it's the end of the process. So it's exciting times, and everybody put a lot of hard work and effort into this. We'll keep going forward, but thank you everybody for everything that you've done. Thank you very much.
David?
No, I'll let the chief have the final word on that. I do want to thank Liz, though. Thank you so much for your help on all this and getting everything to the council so quickly. And we'll work as a team to get them through the next 30 days. Okay, we'll get them to the finish line one way or the other. So you can count on that committee. But in the meantime, let's relish in what we have. So that's
Yeah.
what
And I just want to do a big shout out to the mayor. She's been so supportive, coming up, and designating basically $2.5 million of ARPA money. Thank God that came in to help us out, but she has been so supportive in so many different ways in this project. From the property perspective, dealing with along with David Singer and our attorney, Greg Schmidt, in acquiring and cleaning up the property. That was a monumental amount of work. So I just want to give a big shout out to her. I do want to just ask Neil if you would just weigh in on the importance of us getting that 500,000 sooner than later, and how it does play into the IT piece and another piece of the project that we spoke about a couple of days ago. If you would just maybe weigh in on that for us, Neil.
Sure. So probably the two most critical pieces of the technology infrastructure that we'll be purchasing are the network switches, which are the critical link to the communication system and the ability for the station to communicate with the outside world via the internet. That those typically have been quoted. Cisco seems to have a real backup, and they've been quoting anywhere between 48 and 52 weeks for switches. So that is of the utmost critical nature. And then secondly is the station alerting system, so that we can make sure that when the contractor is building the building, that we have the proper infrastructure in place, meaning boxes and conduits are all in the right location and are coordinated with the system ultimately that will service the department for years to come. So those are the two biggest pieces that we need to get moving on fairly quickly. And that technology money is largely earmarked to support those two pieces. Anything else, Butch?
Any questions for Neil on those two pieces and why they're critical and why we need to seek that funding sooner than later?
Neil, I just noticed that Penny Ricketts joined the meeting just now. Hi, Penny. And
Hey, Penny.
and I know Penny is leading the charge to get things voted on sooner than later, very sooner than very later. And Neil, if you could repeat that for Penny, I mean, she could understand better when we come before the council next month, why it's critical for the council to vote next month on on the appropriation one way or the other, whether the borrowing gets changed or money comes out of cash or wherever it comes from. We'll need the council to move quickly. So thank you, Neil, for doing that again. And thank Penny for joining us.
Sure, David. So the two most critical pieces of technology and infrastructure that are funded through FF&E are the network switches, which help the station to communicate via the web with outside systems, including station communications and radio equipment. And then the second piece is the station alerting system, which is important for us to secure through an outside vendor so that we can ensure that all of the infrastructure in the station, the conduit, the back boxes, the monitor locations, et cetera, are all coordinated with the system that will be in place to serve the station for years to come. So the second item is more of a coordination issue, and the first item is more of a communication issue.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, Penny.
Thanks, Penny.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
guys. Thanks for everything.
you're well, thanks. I know you've had a long week, Penny, and you said you weren't going to be at our meeting today, but thanks for jumping in.
Yeah,
Um,
I have another meeting in 20 minutes and then I have to go to an event tonight. So I just wanted to listen for a minute. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so what we're voting on today would be the letter that that Neil produced that I sent out to everybody yesterday, which would be the notice of award, City of Greenfield Fire Station. Dear Mr. Sullivan, this letter serves as a formal notice to the City of Greenfield acting through the Fire Station Building Committee has voted to award the contract for the above referenced project to your company. Based on your base bid plus alternatives numbers 1, 2, and 3 in the amount of $14,470,000, the City of Greenfield will provide the owner contractor agreement form for the project for the review and execution. When received, please return to us the signed agreement together with your performance and payment bonds and certificates of insurance within 5 days of receipt. Please indicate your acknowledgement and acceptance of this award notice by signing the below and returning to me the original contract of this letter. Thank you very much in advance. Mayor Roxanne Weidergardner. So that essentially is how somebody could frame the motion to award the contract.
I would be happy to.
Go right ahead, Chief.
I would make a motion that the building committee accepts the bid from DA Sullivan and request the mayor to sign the contract of such off of the bid. You can paraphrase it differently if you want, but I think that covers it.
Perfect. Second,
Second,
is there any further discussion?
I have just some questions that
Sure.
before we vote for DA Sullivan. If Neil could just give us a little bit of detail about the other bidders so that everybody in the committee is comfortable recommending DA Sullivan.
Sure.
The second bid package that we received was from W.J. Mountford out of, I believe it's South Windsor, Connecticut. I'm familiar with Mountford. They do good work. They were approximately $200,000 higher in total price than DA Sullivan. And then the third contractor and final price that we received was from, name escapes me at the minute. Put me on the spot, Chief. M. O'Connor, and their price was roughly $16.5 million for the scope of work of the contract. So those two things together, certainly DA Sullivan is the best alternative, and we found them to be responsive and responsible to the request for proposals.
And personally, I couldn't be happier to have a local contractor do the work just right down the road, Northampton. I mean, they're doing the library, and certainly they've done some very, very good projects up and down the valleys for years and years. And if there were any issues, I'm sure they would be very responsive to us. So I can wholeheartedly support DA Sullivan for the contract. Is there any other discussion on it? Yay, we're at the great spot. How do you vote, David? The contract?
Yes.
Yes, I vote yes. Chief?
Yes.
Yes. Liz?
Yes.
Yes. Carol?
Yes.
Yes. Steve?
Yes.
Yes. Jean?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
And Jen?
Yes.
And Jim?
Yes.
Yay. Neil, if you,
Bravo.
we deserve a hand after 2.5+ years of this, for sure. And it certainly wouldn't have happened without the support of Neil Joyce and his crew, and Dennis Ross, Katrina, and Adam and their crew, for the amount of times we've asked them to alter their plans, adjust our needs, and meet our sometimes unrealistic expectations and needs throughout this process. It's been long and it's been challenging, and yet we've been fortunate to have such a good crew, both within the committee and within our professional group, to be able to rise the occasion every single time. So
You're here.
a big hand for those. And I would just ask Neil if he could explain the process now going forward, once the mayor sends out this contract to DA Sullivan. What should
Sure.
we expect next?
We will issue the notice of award tomorrow. We will send over, as soon as they're received and in hand, the contracts for DA Sullivan to execute. They'll return signed copies of the contract along with their bonds and insurance to the city. We'll review that. As long as there are no abnormalities with their finished proposals and their bonds all check out, we will issue what's called the notice to proceed, which sets the official clock ticking on their time of performance for the project. And with any luck, in 14 months, we will be talking about move-in. I would not expect any immediate activity at the site. It generally will take, probably a month of time to make critical subcontractor awards, turn in submittal packages, and procure the early materials that are needed to begin work on site. And then obviously, probably somewhere around the 1st of November, we'll be constructing foundations at the building.
Perfect. Any questions for Neil on the process?
When's the groundbreaking?
You, with all due respect, David, you tell me.
Oh, you want me to pick a date? I think the mayor should do that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
perfect.
So,
Sooner than later, so we can kind of get it going. Absolutely. Any more discussion on, or comments on the award? Hearing none. Yay, so happy to be here, damn. The next item is recommend award of the commissioning services. We have talked about that over the last couple of months. We need to kind of get it on the agenda, make the award, move forward with this. I know that Neil's had conversations with, I think, Carol on this, and if Carol's on, maybe she can speak to this issue a little bit. If not, Neil can.
Sorry, you caught me. Go ahead.
There we go. I was going
Go
to say,
ahead.
I can't see whether you're waiting for me or Carol, so.
Yeah. Like, I can't see everybody. Carol, do you want to speak to it?
I mean, I don't think there's that much to say. The bid went out, and there were 2 respondents, and they both were firms that Neil had experience with, and were both good. And so we all reviewed them. I believe Laura did as well. And then because you just brought that up, I was trying to find the email with my rationale, but I believe it's Colliers that we selected because they had the most similar experience. And I believe once the award is approved by the committee, then we can open the price proposal. Is that, maybe Laura needs to chime in, I don't know, or Neil, but that's my understanding.
Sure, either one. Neil, do you want to speak to it at all?
how Carol summarized it is what I would have said the same thing. So
Okay, perfect.
we'll begin with an affirming vote of the committee. We'll record officially the steps or the characteristics that place Colliers above the other firm, and we will begin negotiations on scope of services with Colliers.
Perfect. Can you just outline for us, maybe Neil or Carol, what the commissioning services are, what's involved in it?
Sure. So the commissioning agent is responsible, or he's an independent third party that will review the design documents and make recommendations for improvement. They will also review the construction methods as we progress through construction. The goal is to make sure that the operation of the systems that heat and power the building are optimized so that the city has the lowest operating cost and highest return on investment that they can. In addition to that, they will assist us with both what they call fundamental commissioning, which is typical startup and test of mechanical and electrical systems. And then they will also do some envelope commissioning for us and potentially some additional services that are associated with the grant and the rebates that we are seeking in partnership with Eversource.
Perfect. Any questions for Neil or Carol on the commissioning services award? Go ahead, Carol.
I just want to add one more thing. Since we started this whole process with Eversource to determine what the incentive would be, they've increased the amounts twice. So that's where we are right now. So this is a great process, and I don't have a final dollar amount, but it's looking great. We have an energy model that, thanks to the team over at H2M, is going to get us the highest amount we can possibly get. Commissioning is required for this. So and it is, just a highly recommended service. So just to kind of flesh it out a little bit more, we're going to get some good money to help toward the whole project and well cover the cost for commissioning.
Perfect. Anybody else? I can't see you all, so you have to say something. No? Are we ready for a motion? Is there somebody wants to make a motion for Colliers for commissioning services?
I move that we accept Colliers for the commissioning services related to the fire station project.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. Hey, David, how do you vote?
Yes.
Butch votes yes. Chief,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
and Jim Wynn.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's great to be moving in this direction. Next item is anything new with the temporary fire station, Chief?
Yes, there is. We are looking at, we're gonna have to make some small adjustments or fixes to the walkway roof. We have developed some significant leaks through the last couple rainstorms, so we are trying to find a solution to try to button that up a little bit. But other than that, things are going good.
Great. Perfect. Any questions for the chief on current facilities they're at? No? Good. Okay, new business. Is there any new business that we should be aware of? Go ahead.
I do, Commissioner. So this Sunday, a part of Vintage Days for the city of Greenfield, the fire department with the Greenfield Business Association will be doing a little barbecue on the common. Would love anybody from this committee that would love to come and spend some time and volunteer a little bit would be great. Or just come and have a good time. But between 11 and 3 is the barbecue. The proceeds for that will go directly to help enhance our museum. So display cases and things like that. I am happy to report that we are already at about $1,600 in donations and before the barbecue has even started. So we want to say thank you to the Greenfield Business Association. But this should be a good event, and hope we see people there.
Questions on the chief on that? Okay. Well, I couldn't be happier for this meeting. I have to tell everybody, it's just been so long and so, and
Well, I've got to say, Butch, on behalf of our team, it's been a pleasure to work with everybody here. And I know it's been a big group over the past 2.5 years. But I think we did a great job working together, you know, Chief and all of his crew, everybody giving us their input, letting us crawl around the buildings and work with them on that. So we thank you for all of your hard effort on this.
thanks. And you couldn't be more accommodating and more responsive to the committee and the project as it twisted and turned over the years, as well as you know, our OPM Neil Joyce. We just feel we have a really great group, and going forward, I know the project will have its ups and downs, but I know with you folks, you know, having our backs, that it will turn out very well. So we greatly appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you,
Anyone else?
Butch.
You're welcome.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, motion for adjournment. Oh, one other thing, next meeting, when should we meet again next? Neil, is there a reason for us to meet anytime soon, or?
Butch, my thoughts were if we did not meet for our first scheduled meeting in October,
The 6th, okay.
we would probably reconvene after council has voted on the other 500K, and we can update the committee on where we are with the execution of contracts and the anticipated start of work.
Sounds good. So the second week would be the 13th, and then the last week would be the 27th of October. So you're thinking the 27th works for everybody?
Yep.
Let's put it down. 27. 4:30. Okay, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, David,
Yes.
Butch, yes.
Happily.
Chief? Happily. Yes, Liz?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Okay, Steve,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
and Jim.
Yes.
Record time, look at that, almost 31 minutes or so. Thanks, everybody.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you all.
Bye-bye.